my fellow Americans. Tonight, a psychology professor at North Dakota State University urges conservative students to take a stand. I reinforce his argument and explain why the fight against liberal indoctrination is a battle worth having. This is Veley TV. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We will preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we will sentence them to take the first step into 1,000 years of darkness. If we fail, at least let our children and our children's children say of us, we justified our brief moment here. We did all that could be done. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Veley TV. I wanted to take tonight's show to talk about something that is actually fairly personal to me. It's an issue that I've been involved with and fighting against for almost 10 years now. It's this issue of liberal indoctrination that goes on in high schools and colleges all across the country. It's this growing trend where professors will get up in front of their class and instead of teaching, factual American history and instead of teaching, basic American literature and all that good stuff, they get up there and they ram liberalism down the throats of their students. They talk about social justice, and they talk about white privilege, and they talk about trans this and trans that, and trans the other thing. They talk about feminism and all the rest. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. And the problem with this is that our young people are only being taught one side of the political spectrum. They're being taught liberalism and progressivism and nothing else. In a way, they're being brainwashed. They really are. Now, what I encourage, and what I think most other conservatives encourage, is the free flow of ideas. The free flow of ideas, where a professor will get up in front of class, and instead of ramming liberalism down the throats of their students, they'll teach both sides equally and let the students decide which side makes more sense. That's what I support. That's what I encourage. I tell you, I had a great teacher in high school. It was an American history teacher. And this was easily one of the best teachers I've ever had in my life. I mean, honestly. And the reason why he was so great was not because he got up there and talked about conservatism. It was because he would get up there in front of class, and every single day, he would teach both sides of the political arguments. Both sides. I remember he would, on the chalkboard, he would make a chart, pros and cons. I went the entire year not knowing where he stood politically, and that's good. That's good. That's what we should be pushing for. But what we see right now is not that. It's one-sided liberal bias. And it needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped. Our young people are being fed lies and misinformation. I can't tell you how many young people I've seen go in as freshmen in college, not caring about politics, not really knowing anything about it, and then coming out 4 years later as bleeding heart leftists. So it's a very, very real thing. And in my opinion, it's an issue that is not mainstream yet. It should be, but it's not. I saw this article up on campusreform.org talking about I'm not going to read you the entire thing because it's kind of long, and for the sake of time, I want to get to other things. But it talks about a professor at North Dakota State University. A psychology professor. His name is Clay Routledge. And he publishes an essay where he argues that conservative students are needed in colleges now more than ever. Colleges desperately need conservative students, asserts Clay Routledge, a psychology professor at North Dakota State University. In an essay for the James G. Martin Center titled A Letter to Conservatives, You Need College and College Definitely Needs You, Routledge argues that conservative college students and their parents need not turn away from academia due to its liberal bias, but should embrace the opportunity to grow intellectually by having their ideas challenged. Quote, you might not feel at home at many universities, but your presence and contributions are important, Routledge assures conservative students. Don't let the view that these disciplines are only for progressives hold you back. Believe it or not, there are conservative, libertarian, classically liberal, and centrist professors out there, even in the social sciences, he notes, saying they would welcome you. Routledge told Campus Reform that he was motivated to pen his essay after witnessing the dismissive manner in which non-liberal people on campus are often treated. I have also seen firsthand, he writes, what I would refer to as liberal elitism. More broadly, more and more evidence is coming out that on many campuses, people who deviate from leftist groupthink are derogated. It's absolutely true, ladies and gentlemen. And he goes on to talk about how, again, conservative students are needed on college campuses basically to encourage the free flow of ideas. Instead of getting this groupthink that happens, this liberal elitism, as he calls it. We need the free flow of ideas. We need conservatives sharing their views so that liberals hear and maybe get educated. And then, we need liberals, standing up and trying to argue. And that's the kind of environment that we should be encouraging. That's the kind of environment we should be encouraging. But again, what we see on so many campuses is not only, top-down indoctrination, liberalism being taught in the classroom, but we also see the silencing of conservative voices. And that's a very, very unfortunate thing. Folks, I went into the archives, so to speak, and I pulled up a very, very old video of myself and my good friend Connor appearing on the Glenn Beck program on Fox News back in April of 2010. So this was 7 years ago on the Glenn Beck program on Fox News. And I was talking about this exact issue. I was talking about how, indoctrination is a very real issue and how conservative voices are often ignored and silenced on college campuses. Let me play you a little bit of this. Please ignore my prepubescent voice. Watch this.
This is the goal of our show. This is a diagram of what we have personally observed in our school. There is a imaginary wall, if you will. There are students that have very liberal beliefs, students that have conservative beliefs. There tend to be less conservatives than liberals. The conservative beliefs are out there. They're present. The students that have left views cannot see the conservative beliefs and bounce off the imaginary wall. Our goal of the show is to get rid of the wall so that they can see the conservative beliefs, so now they have two sides of the story, and then they can choose.
I'm out of a job very soon. Okay, Connor.
So there you go. I just wanted to play that for you to really have a little fun, but it adds to, I think, what I'm trying to say is that I talked about the imaginary wall there. And that's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. That imaginary wall is a symbol of the silencing of conservative thought on college campuses. That's what it is. The reason liberals cannot see the conservative point of view is because the conservative point of view is always shunned or silenced. That's the wall I was talking about. What we need to do is break down that wall so that we can have the free flow of ideas, so that liberals will actually, see, hey, there's another side out there. Maybe this side makes more sense. Let's look into that a little bit more. And that will create a much better future for all of us. ladies and gentlemen. It really will. Now, I want to talk to young conservatives for a minute. Young conservative students out there. When I say that we need to fight back against this, here's what I mean. Here's what I mean. If you have a liberal professor who day in and day out is getting in front of the class, spewing liberalism, denouncing conservatism, trashing Republicans or whatever, it is up to you. It is up to you to expose it. This should not be tolerated anymore. We cannot allow this to continue. It is up to you to expose it, and let me tell you how. Well, let me tell you how by telling you what I did. What I did. During my sophomore year of college, I had a creative writing professor. His name was Professor Terry. And to make a long story short, one day in class, he started going on this vicious anti-Republican rant. He called Republicans racist and sexist and misogynist and money-grubbing people. He was basically trying to generate fear towards the Republican Party. He was trying to make his students fear the Republican Party. That's what he was doing. And so what I did was I sat there. I didn't make a big deal of it at the time. I took out my cell phone and I started recording. I just sat there. I listened to his entire rant and I was recording. And I got the entire rant on my phone. Shortly after that, I contacted campusreform.org, which is, again, I can't stress this enough, a fantastic organization. We need them and organizations like them now more than ever. I contacted them, and within 24 hours, this audio, the audio that I had taken of my professor was on national news. It was being played over and over and over again. I appeared on the Kelly File with Megyn Kelly, and I was also on Your World with Neil Cavuto. And folks, I'm not telling you this to say, hey, look, I got on Fox News. That's not the point. My point in telling you this is that you have a lot more power than you think. You conservative students out there have a lot more power than you think. Modern technology is a wonderful thing. It really is. And combine that with, again, all the wonderful organizations out there who are dedicated to exposing this sort of thing. Again, my favorite happens to be Campus Reform. There's others out there. Really, the only way we can fight right now is, again, by exposing this. More and more and more. If they're going to get up there, these professors, and use their authority to brainwash their students, then that's not right, and we're going to go to war. Now, let me just say this too, because I know this is a very, very real concern for a lot of young conservatives out there, and it's perfectly understandable. What I often get when I talk to young conservatives about this, when I say, you got to fight back, and they say, well, what about my grades? What if the professor retaliates? What if he doesn't like me? Worse, what happens if, I become a social outcast? My fellow students start ignoring me. What happens? And I tell them, look, I'm not going to lie to you. These are all very, very real things that could happen. I mean, if you secretly record your professor and expose their indoctrination, expose what they're doing behind closed doors, most of them probably won't be too happy about that, if I'm being completely honest. And in addition to that, and I don't want to freak everybody out. I'm just trying to tell you the reality of it. A lot of students probably will look at you differently because, unfortunately, the majority of young people are liberal. So if a conservative takes a stand and exposes liberal indoctrination, you're swimming against the current, so to speak. And there will be consequences. I'm not going to tell you there won't be. I'm not going to tell you after you expose this, it's all going to be, wonderful. It's going to be smooth sailing. It probably won't be. After I exposed my professor during my sophomore year of college, I lost a few friends over it. I really did. I lost a few friends over it. I was certainly seen differently. I mean, people knew my name, don't get me wrong. People knew my name on that campus, but I wasn't some kind of big hero. A lot of people strongly disagreed with what I did. But here's the thing. If I could go back, and if I had to do it all over again, I would in a heartbeat. I would in a heartbeat. And the reason why is because I see the fight against liberal indoctrination as really a battle worth having. I believe it's more important to combat this liberal indoctrination and save the future of our country from a philosophy that is actually centered on the transformation of our country, liberalism. I see that as more important than maintaining all A's or B's. I mean, if I have to get one C or a D in a class because a professor doesn't like me because I exposed him and his lies, then so be it. That's just the way I see it. I understand a lot of people out there see it differently. A lot of people are saying, well, I got to keep my GPA up. I got to keep my grades up. And I don't want to put all that in jeopardy by exposing my professor. I told you the way I see it. It's really a personal decision. I mean, it's not something, that it's not a decision that I can make for you. It's something that you have to decide what you want to do. You have to decide for yourself what you want to do. Do you want to stand up and expose what's going on, be part of something that's bigger than yourself? Or do you want to maintain a friendly relationship with your professor and get along and, hopefully keep your grades up, keep your social life intact? It's a tough decision. I completely understand. But it's a decision that you have to make. All I can tell you right here and right now is that this issue of liberal indoctrination is a very, very serious issue. And in one way or another, us young conservatives have to take the battle to them. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for watching. New episodes of Veley TV released every weeknight at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, immediately following my radio program. Check out all the latest episodes of Veley TV by going to youthrevolt.org/Veley TV. Again, youthrevolt.org/Veley TV. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.
Well, I definitely think that there's strong racial implications behind why he wants to build the wall.
That never really helps or works. I mean, look at the Great Wall of China.
All right, stop for a minute. What's going on with her lipstick? I'm very serious. I mean, it's blue. Isn't that? Is everybody else seeing this? She has blue lipstick on. Looks like her body was just frozen for 10 years and then she just thawed out. It's truly bizarre, is it not?